Hi everybody, welcome to Music Moves for Piano Book 4, Unit 8. We're going to start by moving a duple meter. I'll chant a rhythm pattern, you can chant my pattern back or chant your own. Do, day, day, day-ta, do, day. Day, day, do-ta, day-ta, do, day. Do, day-ta, today, do. Do, to do, day, day, do, to, day-ta. I'm going to sing a song called Sandyland. Do, so, mi, do, ti, do. Would you either do a creative movement by moving your arms gracefully in all the space that you can find, or would you move to macro beats and micro beats? When I stop singing, would you freeze and sing do, bum, ba, 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 bum, ba, bum, bum, ba, 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 bum, ba, bum, do, bum, ba, 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 bum, ba, bum, bum, ba, bum, 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 do. I'm going to sing it one more time. Would you please either move just to the macro beats or micro beats, so you pick macro beat or micro beat movement, or would you move gently using circular movements? Bum, 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 ba, ba, bum, ba, bum, bum, ba, 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 bum, ba, bum, bum, ba, 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 bum, ba, bum, 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 bum. So, ti, re, mi, re, do, ti, la, fa, so. Would you go ahead and sing the resting tone? So, so. Would you please go ahead and move either the macro beats and micro beats or do a dance? And when I stop singing, would you freeze and sing so, ba, 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 bum, ba, 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 bum. So, ba, ba, bum, ba, 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 bum, bum, ba, 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 bum. So, ba, 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 bum, ba, ba, bum, bum. So, ba, 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 bum. We're going to do some tonal patterns in Mixolydian. And I wanted to get a couple of different chords here that we would work on, so I wrote out some patterns. So, ti, re, mi, re, do, ti, la, fa, so. So you'll notice these patterns are working particularly on the tonic chord in Mixolydian and also the minor dominant chord. I'm going to make sure I get that in my ears. Bum, bum, bum. 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 bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. I know that was a lot of patterns, but we don't necessarily hear a lot of patterns or even a lot of music in Mixolydian tonality, or that we recognize as such. So I wanted to give you some opportunity to practice. Do, so, mi, do, ti, do. I'm going to sing the song to sing for this unit. It's She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain. You've probably heard it. Go ahead and just move gently while you listen to me sing the song. Bum bum ba ba bum 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 ba 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 bum. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Go ahead and echo these tonal patterns that are in the song. Bum bum bum. Bum bum bum. Bum bum bum. Bum bum bum. 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 Now we're going to sing those on solfege. So, la, do. So, la, do. Mi, so, do. Mi, so, do. Re, so. Re, so. Re, la. Re, la. Ti, do. Ti, do. We're going to listen for those tonal patterns in the song, but instead of listening through the song 5 times, we're going to listen for a couple of those patterns at a time. So I'd like for you to listen for the first pattern, so, la, do, and also the second pattern, mi, so, do. I'll sing the song one more time, and then after that I'll have you audiate it to listen for the patterns. All right, pattern 1, so, la, do. 2, mi, so, do. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. So those two patterns just happened right away at the beginning of the song. So la do 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 bum bum mi so do. Now I'd like you to listen for just this pattern, re, so, and I'd like you to audiate the song. So I'll give you a little bit of time to hear it in your head. Do, we're listening for re, so, ba 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 ba. All right, so this happens, this is a transitional pattern. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 re, so ba 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 ba. So it happens at the end of the first phrase and before the beginning of the second phrase. All right, we're going to listen for 2 other patterns. Re, la, and ti, do. We're going to start just at the second half of the song. Re, la, ti, do. I'll go ahead and sing. So these 2 patterns both happen way at the end of the song. ba 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 bum re la ti do. So they're helping to establish some chords at the end of the song. All right, so we're going to get some duple meter going. This song starts with an upbeat. Make sure you breathe before you chant the upbeat. Data, duta, data, duta, data, do. Chant with me. Data, duta, data, duta, data, do. Let's do it one more time, but I'll actually give you some time to take that breath. Data, duta, data, duta, data, do. Data, duta, data, duta, data, do. So if you take that breath in time, then it's pretty easy to go ahead and chant with the upbeats. Notice throughout this whole song, the repetition of duta, data happens all over the song. Take a minute to think through this song, to audiate through the song, and just notice how many times you hear duta, data in the song. So I'm counting 11. That's a lot of repetitions of duta, data. I haven't gone back to check myself, but that's a lot of divisions in one song. The other thing that I'd like for you to think about is how these upbeats feel through the song. They carry us forward, but it's not ba 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 ba. Now that's a greatly exaggerated accent on that downbeat, but it's really more of this just gentle lilting into the downbeat. Ba 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 ba. There's all you could hear another one there. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. So you might try audiating through or singing through this song and do some kind of move to help you feel that gentle lead into each of those downbeats. I did this kind of sideways sway. You could do a move forward with your arm. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. So go ahead and just try feeling with some kind of body movement how that feels. Go ahead and sing the song with me, and then we're going to move on. And this time, while you sing, go ahead and do some kind of movement to feel it. Remember, it's not huge. It's not this huge movement. Ba 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 ba. Gentle. Bum bum bum. Sing with me. Ba 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 ba. Let's go ahead and move in triple meter. We're just going to chant some macro beats on do. Do, do, do. Micro beats. Do-da-dee, 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 do-da-dee. I'm going to sing a song called Swinging. Re, fa, la, ti, la, so, fa, mi, do, re. You can either move to macro beats and micro beats, or you can do a creative movement. For the creative movement, would you move your shoulders very stiffly? This time, if you did that creative movement, go ahead and move loosely. If sing German folk song, if this sounds familiar to you, you can go ahead and sing it with me. Would you move this time either to macro beats and micro beats, or would you move as if you're very free? So go ahead and let your movement be even lighter, perhaps faster than it was for the last song. Bum, ba, bum, sing with me. Bum, ba, bum, ba, 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 bum. Bum, ba, bum, ba, 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 bum. Bum, ba, bum, ba, bum, ba, bum. Ba, 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 bum, ba, 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 bum. We're going to do some rhythm patterns in triple meter, just a few. I'll get these paper out of the way. And I would like for you to help me figure out what is in each rhythm pattern. Now, you don't have to identify everything, but here are some of the things that we could be looking for. So macro beats, micro beats, divisions, division elongations, all of those are things that we've talked about a long time ago. So instead, why don't you focus more on rests, upbeats, and ties. So see if you can hear rests, upbeats, or ties. And then if you hear the other things, that's great, but that's a lot to keep track of. All right, I'm going to do this on rhythm syllables, and I'll do it over here so my head's not craned to the side. So you don't have to chant these back. I'll give you a little time to audiate the pattern, and then I'll tell you what's in it. Here I go. Bum, ba, 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 bum, ba, ba, bum. So this pattern had a rest in it. Bum, ba, 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 bum, ba, ba, bum. After that, it was just those more familiar patterns. We had some macro beats, micro beats, and a few divisions. Okay, how about this one? Bum, ba, bum, ba, bum, ba, bum. This one is really hard to hear where there are or are not rests, so I'm going to go ahead and snap if there's a rest to make that more clear. Ba, ba, bum, bum, ba, ba, ba. Which was totally not how it sounded the first time. So, all right, so there was a rest in that pattern. There was also a tie. Bum, ba, bum, bum, bum. So we tied over from one macro beat into the next macro beat. And then also there happened to be some division elongations and micro beats. All right, last pattern. Ba, 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 ba. So in this pattern, we had an upbeat, ba, 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 ba. We also had one rest, ba, 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 ba. And that one is audible without the snap. And then there were also division elongations and a couple of micro beats. All right, we are going to keep on going. So go ahead and get yourself to the keyboard if you're not already there. We're going to look in your Music Moves book in Unit 8. We're going to look at the keyboard skills in this unit, which are from pages 28 through 30. So these are the keyboard skills when Do is E flat and when C is La. So E flat major and C minor are our current relative keys. So you can do the tonic arpeggio. My bench is just a little bit too close. There we go. That's much better. The tonic dominant, tonic melodic cadence. Make sure that you're singing these as you play. For the arpeggio, the way that I've been doing it is you can sing the short version. Do, mi, so, mi, do. And also the long version. Do, mi, so, mi, do. Excuse me. For the tonic dominant, tonic melodic cadence, make sure you're singing that as well. both hands. You can also add your roots in your left hand. Practice the E flat major scale. Notice that for your left hand, you start with 3 fingers, and then you cross over to your ring finger on Fa, and then middle finger for Do. Ring finger, middle finger. Just like the E major scale was symmetrical, the E flat major scale is also symmetrical. You have a black key, 2 white keys, 2 black keys, 2 white keys, and then a black key. It looks a lot less clunky than it sounds when I say it that way. So it looks the same going from both directions. For the right hand going up, you start with your middle finger on Do, then you have 4 fingers, thumb on La. So it's the opposite of the left hand. So it's not the same fingering as we had for E major or for C, G, D, A major, but it's the inverse fingering from the right hand to the left hand. Go ahead and practice that. And then we're also looking when C is La. So when E is Do, C is La. Do, La. These are our relative keys. They share all the same solfege on all the same notes. Make sure you sing the short version and the long version here. La, do, mi, do, la. And la, do, mi, do, la. And then go ahead and sing and play the tonic, dominant, tonic, melodic cadence. La, do, mi, si, mi, re, ti, si, la, do, la. After you practice those, we're going to look at the exploration, creativity, improvisation in your book. This is on page 27. So we're going to write a piece of music today. So not just improvise, but also write it down. So if you don't have any staff paper handy, go ahead and pause this and get some staff paper. If you don't have access to staff paper, I forgot to do this ahead of time, I can show you. You can make staff paper out of notebook paper pretty easily. You can trace 1 line, trace a 2nd line, and trace a 3rd line. So I've just traced 3 lines in my notebook, and then you draw a line in between the top 2. It's not very straight. It'll be fine. And then draw a line in between the bottom 2. It's not a perfect system. If you have a straight edge, that will work much, much better than if you're freehanding it sideways like I am right now. But you can go ahead and make staff paper out of notebook paper if you need to. So once you have staff paper handy, we're going to do a little bit of improv. So we're going to improvise a melody in G major, in duple meter, and also in triple meter. Our major triads are 1 in any tonality, 4, and 5. Our minor triads are 6 and 2. So let's go ahead and play through these chords. 1, 6, 4, 5, and then 2, 6, 5, 1. So here's my 1 chord in G major. You can move around for each of these. 4, 5, and then 2, 6, 5, 1. 6, 5, 1. It's very awkward to have to move your hand around like that. So what I would do instead is 1, 6. This is the first inversion 6 chord. La, do, mi, la. For the 4 chord, chord in root position. 6, 5, 1. That's a lot of chord changes. So take some time in G major, practice these chords. Then once you're comfortable with that, you can improvise melodies using just chord tones from those chord changes. If you want to get your right hand ready for that, you could have your right hand copy what your left hand is doing. These are the notes that you're going to use. Use only macro beats and micro beats. All right, let's see. I'm thinking in triple meter. Do da dee do, here I go. So there's one with triple meter. Go ahead and try some with duple meter. Experiment with this chord progression. This is a lot of chords to manage, but it makes a really interesting melody to have this many chords in one melody. Another thing that it says is make a rhythmic variation of the melody. So that means don't just use macro beats and micro beats. So I could use what's apparently my favorite division elongation pattern because I use it all the time, which is do to D. So I could use something like that. So have fun exploring with that. And then the second project, improvise a melody using only chord tones from the major tonality chord changes. Use only macro beats and micro beats and make a G major melodic variation of any familiar melody. So for the G major melody improvisation, it's just saying to do, as far as I can tell, the same thing as the first project, just don't play it just once. I think it's saying keep practicing this set of chord changes and keep adding things. And then you can make a melodic variation of any familiar melody. Any familiar melody. So that one I'm adding in some passing tones and a couple of neighbor tones to make a melodic variation of Jingle Bells. A couple more improv activities that we're going to do. So we're going to improvise in Mixolydian. So you can do any Mixolydian tonality. I'm going to go ahead and do G. Make two phrases, use two different rhythm patterns. Whatever you use or don't use, make sure you have fa. So, fa. Because that's our characteristic tone in Mixolydian tonality. All right, so I'm still thinking in triple. Do, da, dee, do, here I go. So that's two different rhythm patterns, and I threw fa in there once. Go ahead and also create at least one Dorian melody. You can use one rhythm pattern for two phrases, so use the same rhythm pattern 2 times. I'm going to do a D Dorian. And I'm going to make sure that I use T. re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. Because that's our characteristic tone for Dorian. All right, one rhythm pattern. Let's go in duple meter. Do, day, do, day till do. I have a hard time stopping at 2 phrases. I always want it to be just a little bit longer than that. So with your improv this week, make sure you're improvising some in Mixolydian and some in Dorian. When you do that, make sure you use the characteristic tone. So in Mixolydian, that's fa, so, fa, so. In Dorian, that's re, ti. Ti is our characteristic tone in Dorian tonality. For a little bit of review, we're going to look back to Book 4, Unit 7. If you have not finished anything for Mixolydian Honeybee, make sure you go ahead and look at those things, see what else you can add for that. Go ahead and see what you can add for London Bridge. Tell me if you need any help playing these pieces, and I'll help you when we have our group class check-in. If you still have Book 3 around, you can take a look at Book 3, Unit 17. So there are just a couple other projects that are in this unit. So if you look at page 27, go all the way to the left side of the page. Let's look at keyboard geography and technique. There are a couple of things over here. We're going to play some different cadences. Let's look at 1, 4, 5, and 1, when A flat is do and when F is la. Looks like this. So it's better we play the root rather than the bass note. And then let's do F. I'm thinking Dorian. Dorian is coming up. Now we're going to play 1, 4, 7, 1 when B flat is re. That's what I had in my head before. And then 1, 4, 5, 7, 1 when E flat is so. So now we're in Mixolydian. I know there are many ways to play these, but for me, it's very helpful to have one way that I get across these chords so that as I move from tonic to tonic, I have B flat is re, and now we're about to do F is re. It helps me keep track of where I am. So now we're going to do Dorian again. This is now when F is re. When B flat is so, we have our whole cadence 1, 4, 5, 7, 1. Go ahead and practice those. You don't have to get them the first time. Just keep playing them. Make them just part of your vocabulary so that you're just starting to hear these common chord progressions in these different tonalities. For the music notation skills, grab some staff paper. This is what we talked about earlier, except the project that I alluded to doesn't actually take place until Unit 9. So you'll have to wait until Unit 9 for the composition project. Not that you can't do your own composition project all the time. So staff paper, draw some seconds and fourths, draw some thirds and fifths, use black note heads. And then use some blank paper, draw some duple meter elongation patterns when the quarter note is due and also when the half note is due. For the exploration, creativity, improvisation, there are a couple other ideas here in this book besides the things that we just did a little bit ago. So the first one is we're going to improvise an E flat major duple meter melody that has 2 4 macro beat phrases. Use only do, re, and do, mi, plus their inversions. So we're goes. Do, day, do, here I go. Here we go. Something like that. So you can make it longer than that, but go ahead and start with something that's just 2 phrases. And then go ahead and make 2 different melodic variations of London Bridge. So here are a couple that I was just thinking through. Something like that. So what I'm thinking for that, I'm trying to give myself one technique to work on so that I can be intentional about the way that I make these variations. So with that one, I'm trying to use lower neighbors. So I go down, away from the note, and back to it. I did one more where I'm trying to use rests. So do that for yourself. When you're trying to make a melodic variation of something, melodic, by the way, meaning that you can change the pitches and or the rhythms. So it's not just a tonal variation where you're changing only the pitches, or a rhythmic variation where you're changing only the rhythm. This is changing both. So when you do that, try to give yourself those parameters. So decide, I'm only going to use divisions. I'm going to make a division variation of this song. I'm going to make a rest variation. I'm going to make a variation with upper neighbors or lower neighbors or passing tones. Just to make yourself think about how you can use that technique or that form of material. So go ahead and try that, see what you can come up with, and then after you've done some of those things, then go ahead and say, the sky's the limit. I can do whatever I want. But I imagine that you'll find that you'll be more creative and you'll have more structure to your piece if you're putting some of those limitations on yourself. So just to have an overview of everything, if you have book 3, go ahead and review unit 17. Review unit 7 in this book. These are in the book and listening assignments at the bottom left of page 27. Practice the new pages. Anything that you added today, please write today's date over on the lesson side. Learn to sing this song to sing. If you don't already know, She'll Be Coming Around the Mountains. Spend some time with that. Listen to this unit on the CD, Echo the Patterns. Listen to the next unit. Listen to the pattern CD, track 39. Yes, the pattern CD is still around, and we have lots of wonderful new things to work on in the pattern CD. Thank you very much for joining me for Music Moves for Piano, Book 4, Unit 8.